Hello and welcome to the Classroom Connection, the show that takes you inside Marion County Public Schools. I'm Kevin Christian, and on today's show, we focus entirely just about on school safety. Now, given the horrific tragedy in Newtown, Connecticut, how safe are the schools right here at home? Could an armed intruder penetrate our campuses? And how confident is local law enforcement when it comes to handling a crisis of that magnitude? There's no better person to answer these questions than Greg Graham, the police chief for the city of Ocala, and he joins us now. Chief, great to see you.
Great to see you, Chief. Kevin, thanks for inviting me.
First question, no doubt you've been to many of our city schools over the last few weeks since the Newtown tragedy. What makes you feel good about those schools when you walk away from them?
Well, I think that the cooperation that we have with the school system, with the principals at each school, certainly with the administration of the entire school system, has been great over the years. And through the years, especially since Columbine, we've had a great partnership where we've developed plans, response plans for every school, not just inside the city, but also partnering with the county, with the sheriff's office, and we have plans for all the county schools because, if something was to happen in a city school, that doesn't mean Ocala PD is going to be the only one that responds to it. The county does too, and we train together and practice. I have a great deal of confidence in the way that we respond to tragic events, not just in our school system, but throughout the community, because these shootings can happen anywhere. Right, yeah. The mall, theater, convenience store, Christmas parade.
We have the same venues as any other town.
Absolutely.
Any shortcomings that you think about when you walk away from some of our campuses thinking, well, maybe we didn't do that?
No campus is perfect,
right.
And each one has its own individual characteristics that causes issues. But, I think our greatest resource in our community and our greatest resource in our schools are the people in those schools. And I tell people, when you start talking about gun control and all this other stuff is, it's the communication between our community and law enforcement and the school system when people notice something that's out of place or a child who's struggling, to let somebody know, hey, we think something's going on, so that we can investigate and get those people help. But yeah, every campus is different. Some have security issues, physical security issues. Some do not. Some are excellent. But the people are the most important things to us.
You mentioned a while ago the plan that we have in place. It's a crisis plan or emergency preparedness plan. How confident are you in that plan and why?
Oh, extremely confident. We've practiced it over and over and over again. If I could show you, if I had one of our computers in here, every single police officer has a copy of every response plan for each school in their car, on their computer, that's updated when schools go through construction issues and things. It's updated constantly. We practice it over and over and over again. I would put our response plan up against anyone in the nation.
Well, that's my next question. Yeah. How do we compare with some of the other cities that you've seen around the nation?
I think we're extremely progressive in what we've done in the past. I mean, we've got, for each individual school, we've got, we know where all the electric cutoffs and gas and water and all that stuff is. We've got pre-staged locations for evacuation or command posts and stuff, and we have backup areas just in case, backup locations just in case the incidents are occurring in different areas of the school. It's extremely comprehensive. And not only do we have the response plan, but we've also got an intervention plan too, early intervention plan with the Save a Friend hotline, with our school resource officers in the schools, not just in middle and high schools, but our DARE officers in the elementary schools. I've said it before, we've got a great partnership with the school system and with the administration of all the schools, where we're a phone call away, and there's a great deal of trust between us and those people in the schools, where they will call us and tell us things.
What can our community do to be part of that whole process?
Call us. Call the school system. The old adage, it takes a village to raise a child. It really does. When you see a child or anyone, it doesn't have to be a child, doing something that's a little odd or off what they normally do, or you see somebody hanging around a school, or they've made comments about where they're depressed and where they want to do violence with others. A lot of people kind of blow that stuff off. Don't blow it off. Pick the phone up and call, because we may have gotten calls about that same person from other people, and that one other phone call may have tipped the scale for us to actually be able to go out and get that person some help. We've done this at 2, 3 o'clock in the morning, where we'll get a call on Save a Friend, and you know, we'll get up and we'll go knock on doors and go, hey, you know, you okay? What's going on? And I don't think we've ever had a credible threat to any of our schools, but we certainly have done everything we can to prevent things from happening. You know, it's great to have a response plan,
right,
but my goal is to prevent it to begin with.
Never have to respond.
Right,
yeah.
Right.
Armed guards, bulletproof glass, panic buttons, more fencing. What's the solution here?
I don't think that, you know, the truth is if someone wants to do harm to someone else, they're going to figure out a way to do it. You know, you look at Columbine, you talk about putting armed guards and armed police officers in all the schools. You know, Columbine had a school resource officer, and their plan was to take the SRO out first. Well, fortunately, he wasn't where he was supposed to be or where they thought he was. So there's always ways to get around that stuff. The big thing is to not always have a routine, right, where people can plan on certain things happening.
Just like at home, change the routine.
Right, right. And if you see something out of the ordinary, call and report it and get us out there, or get the administrator out there so that they can help.
We're a couple of months removed from Newtown now.
Right.
It's not at the top of everybody's mind. It's not leading every newscast. God forbid it ever happen here. But what are your officers doing to maintain that presence, to maintain that level of security and encouragement and comfort level that our community needs to have with our officers and our schools? Well,
you know, as you're aware, our middle schools and high schools have full-time SROs. Our elementary schools, each of our elementary schools has a DARE officer, but the DARE officer actually covers 5 or 6 schools. Right. All our patrol officers and our investigators are doing more high visibility patrol on campuses. They're checking out there, they're walking through, having lunch at the schools, getting to know the kids, getting to know the teachers, so that they're familiar with and are more comfortable with us being there. You know, and the thing to keep in mind too, that most all of the officers have kids in schools. Mm-hmm. So, I mean, this is a subject near and dear to their heart. Sure. I mean, the cops aren't just robots. I mean, we're people too, and we have families, and, you know, we cry, we mourn, we care about what we do. We certainly care about the community, and we take that very seriously. So, I've actually seen where the officers have embraced this.
You're out in the community talking with parents. What do you tell them when they say, hey, I'm really nervous about sending my kid to school?
Don't be. I mean, if you let your kid go to the grocery store, you let them go to movie theater or the mall, they're in the same amount of danger as they're anywhere else. Actually, I would say more so than in a school. There's no reason that life has to end, right, when something like this occurs. We've got to move on. That's what people want you to do. They want to have that dramatic impact when they do stuff like this, and the last thing we want to do is reward them even more for what they've done.
This last question may be a little bit more philosophical than crime fighting, if
right,
you will, but you know, we talk about all these methods that we can put in place, bulletproof glass, fencing, armed officers, all of that. Are we really treating the symptom, or are we treating the problem by doing all of that?
It's the problem. I don't think we're treating the symptom at all. Yeah. You know, people talk about gun control, and, you know, I've said this a million times, you know, our great nation was one of the founding principles was we have easy access to firearms. Yeah. You know, so throughout the history of our nation, we've had that, you know, but it seems like these mass shootings are occurring more frequently now. So what else is going on in our society that's allowing this to occur and encouraging people to do this? You know, is it, you know, violence on TV and in the movies? Is it the desensitization of our society for violence? Is it the media giving these people roles? Is it, you know, lack of mental health? Is it lack of our parenting skills and you know, it takes a village to raise a child? Mm-hmm. Is it gun control? I think it's a combination of all of that. Right. And my fear is that, you know, we talk about controlling guns and everybody thinks, okay, if this occurs, everybody thinks, okay, we're safe.
It's never going to happen.
And we're not.
There's never that guarantee.
Right. So, you know, it's a societal problem, and I think the more we get involved with each other and we truly are a community, the better off we're going to be.
Yeah. Chief, I agree with you. Thank you for your time.
No problem.
I haven't had a chance to say it, but welcome back. You've been here a while, but
great to be home.
Welcome back. Appreciate your time.
Sure.
Well, shootings like the one in Newtown thrust school security to the forefront most of the time, and simply believing it could never happen here, as you just heard, is not enough, because that's exactly what the town of Newtown thought. After that violence happened, our school district sat down with local law enforcement to review the procedures we have in place. And, as you just heard from Chief Graham, they favor the proactive steps we've taken and the reactive steps we have planned should something happen. Here's Joel Hartley with a look at those steps.
There are probably only 2 sites in Marion County where a tragedy like Newtown can never happen.
They have secured access as far as you have to be buzzed in, buzzed out. They have glass that's very dense. They have big, thick metal doors. You can't access it. I mean, I know when I go over there, before I even go walk in, I have to give them my keys, and then I can't leave until they give me my keys when I come back out. I mean, it's a very secure facility, but it's a correctional institution.
Short of prison-level security, it's virtually impossible to eliminate every threat. The district's goal is to do as much as it can, within reason, to secure campuses and reduce the chances of being added to the tragic roll call.
If you get to the point where you actually want to have 100% security, that's what you're looking at, and I don't think anybody wants to go to that extent. We do the best we can with what we have at our availability, not only with physical resources, but also with protocol and procedures that we have to deal with in case we do come across something major like this.
Those procedures tend to work hand in hand. The physical defenses funnel visitors to a point where the procedural defenses can come into play.
What we've tried to do, especially in the last few years, especially with new construction, is create single points of entry into our campuses. Most of the newer schools do have that. Some of the older schools that did not have that capability, what we've tried to do is, like if a school got a wing addition, part and parcel of that construction budget was to create a single point of entry by putting in fencing. The first thing a visitor comes onto our campus, they have to go through the front office and they have to provide a photo ID. At that time, that photo ID is scanned and they are checked against a statewide and national database for sexual offenders and predators. Now, that doesn't state that they're not wanted for some crime, but we're trying to, keep our kids safe because of the Jessica Lunsford Act. Also, because of the Jessica Lunsford Act, we run background checks on all vendors who come onto our campus to try to make sure that anybody coming on there is up above board, so that we don't have to worry about them doing anything harmful to our children.
Many campuses are under some type of video surveillance, which Markham can monitor from his central office. More importantly, it can be viewed at the school site, providing an eye in the sky during an incident.
There is a person delegated during those times to monitor those who has a two-way radio so that they can communicate with the administrative staff and any SRO that might be on campus to be that extra set of eyes and maybe preempt something bad from happening because they can see it before it does.
Fences, background checks, and security cameras are all well and good, but nothing beats what the military refers to as boots on the ground.
Our best line of defense is our employees. Their eyes, their ears, their knowledge of the campus, their knowledge of who should be there and who should not be there.
But what if the threat comes from someone who is supposed to be there, like a student?
In that type of situation, our best line of defense is our students. In probably 98% of these cases, especially with school-related shootings where they are student-related, they tell somebody in advance of it. And that's what our students need to understand here in Marion County, that if they hear something, they need to feel empowered to bring that information to somebody to keep bad things from happening. Many times incidents happen on our campuses that don't go any further because a student came forward with information to one of the administrators or the SRO on site. Could it happen tomorrow? Absolutely. It can happen anywhere. And we're not immune from that, but the mindset of the children and the staff and the parents that this is our community, these are our schools, keeps bad things from happening because they care about it.
Should all the proactive measures fail, the district has reactive plans in place known as Code Yellow and Code Red.
Teachers, this is Mr. Burgess. At this time, we are in a code red. This is not a drill. We are in a code red. Lock your doors and please refer to your crisis management kit.
Basically, yellow means is we're going to lock our doors, but we're going to continue with the regular educational process behind locked doors. There is some type of a threat on campus. It's maybe not a imminent threat or a exigent circumstance that might cause us to think that we need to seek further action. A code red means that there is something of that nature, an active shooter on campus. Maybe we have a law enforcement is chasing somebody near the campus and they might encroach upon us and we don't know if they're armed or not, we're going to go into a code red. In the code red situation, what we'll do is we'll lock our doors, but all the students and staff will get away from doors and windows and almost act like they're in a tornado drill. They'll hunch down and try to make themselves as little as target as possible and use the concealment of the room to be able to protect them with.
Just like fire and tornado drills, schools practice code red and code yellow drills. Law enforcement has its own plans in place, and occasionally both sides come together for a full-blown exercise, the purpose of which is to not only practice the plan, but also find any problems with it and correct them.
I've been here since 1999, and I don't think there's been 1 year gone by that we haven't had an exercise conducted in conjunction with law enforcement. The biggest thing that I see as a positive out of it is we have established relationships and rapport. We know who each other are, so that, God forbid, should one of these incidents actually do happen, we know the names with the faces, we're speaking the same language, we can communicate effectively, which will keep things from drawing out.
The most recent such drill was at Fort McCoy last April. Here's a look back at the story we brought you then.
My son got kicked out of school today, and I want to know who's in charge.
Okay, well, that would be the discipline office. If you've got your ID,
No, I don't have an ID, and I just want to talk to whoever's in charge.
Volunteers playing the role of a father and his recently suspended son burst into the front office, angrily demanding to speak to someone about the situation. While this training scenario might have been a bit over the top, that's not an uncommon occurrence.
Well, we get parents that are upset, but like you said, this was overly dramatic, this parent, but we do get them that want to see the principal, and we just try to keep them calm until we can find a principal or a dean or someone that would speak with them.
While the staff's attempts to defuse the situation were scripted to fail, it was still a valuable learning experience.
I think it was excellent. I really do. I think we learned a lot. We could see things that we need to do to improve. So I think it was very useful.
As part of the exercise, one attacker was able to get past the front office, onto campus, and into a classroom before the teacher could react to the Code Red announcement. Schools practice the Code Red drill several times a year, but not to this level.
It gave us kind of a real-life scenario that could happen to help us better prepare our students if there was a situation that arises. I mean, we already have training, which is good, but to actually be put in a where it's different than a drill. You just do the drill, you go to your position, but now we know what to expect. I think it's something that all schools should be able to experience, all faculty, because I will definitely be able to prepare my students. When we're going through the drills, I'll be like, you need to take this serious. It's just not, these drills do work. When a real situation arises, your teachers will know what to do, so you need to listen to them.
Once a school is locked down, it's up to the SWAT team to secure the campus, remove the injured,
go to your right. Keep going to your right. Good.
and to neutralize the threat, in this case with simulated lethal force. Part of securing the campus is going room to room, checking for threats and escorting students and staff to safety.
If it's a hostage situation, they're going to lock everything down and still do a search of all those rooms so that there's not anybody that may be a sleeper cell in the in with the bad guys.
That search can be just as scary as the shooting for the teachers and students locked down and hiding, as the SWAT team aggressively enters and secures the rooms. They may be the good guys, but they aren't very friendly in this situation.
No, they're not. And I kind of get their point behind that because they don't know if the bad guy's in there or not. At first I was a little taken back that they were drawing weapons on us, but they don't know who's who. So they did their job the right way. They took their emotions out of it and did what they had to do.
Listen, what we're going to do is we're going to come right out here. You're going to turn left, go out these buildings. We're going to go around the right side, out to the main front. Keep your hands on top of your head. If you see something bad, just start running.
During a code red, all doors are locked and teachers are instructed to open them for no one, not even law enforcement. They'll let themselves in.
There's a lock box in the principal's office that's supposed to have a master key to every part of the school, and they had some issues where there was a certain key that was not in there. That being the only hiccup and everything else going good, the communications of the red in the windows of each room, they did a good job. get the keys taken care of, and they're right on target with what we need.
With nearly 50 campuses countywide and several different floor plans, training at Fort McCoy won't necessarily carry over to an incident at, say, Lake Weir. But the SWAT team has a plan in place to prevent ever going onto a campus cold.
Each one of the SWAT officers is assigned a particular school, and it's their job on SWAT to go and tour that building and tour that facility and know the campus. And of course, inside with the keys in the lockbox is maps to the entire campus.
Having been through a more in-depth training than most teachers get, Taylor has some advice should others ever find themselves in this situation.
Go ahead and make sure you follow the procedures that your school has in place for you, and not try to be the hero so much because they know what they're doing.
But for a teacher in this situation, doing nothing might be the hardest thing to do.
We heard students out here moaning and asking for help, and that was really difficult as a teacher, and most teachers are parents, so it was really hard, but just trusting the authority, the people that are in charge, because they know what they're doing.
After every combined drill, both sides sit down and go over what went well and what could have gone better, with the goal of being as prepared as possible should the unthinkable occur.
We have to try to put our best foot forward and see what we can do, perhaps that we haven't been doing, which I don't know what that is, because we have a lot of mechanisms in place to try to deter things from happening, and then should it happen, we have a lot of protocol in place to be able to try to mitigate those circumstances should they happen. There are, unfortunately, no guarantees. I wish I could tell you that there were, but it wouldn't be realistic. It would be optimistic. But like I said, we will do everything in our power to make sure that these things don't happen. And God forbid they do, we're going to react to it in the most positive and quickly and efficient way that we can.
This month we hold another exercise to test response to a tornado touchdown at Vanguard High School. That's a drill, remember. And the drill also includes a reunification component where students are reunited with their parents somewhere off campus and far away from danger. Over the last few weeks, many of you have asked what we're doing as a district to keep our schools safe and what changes we might have in store. Instead of me telling you those answers, here's Superintendent George Tomyn with those answers.
I'm very confident that our schools are safe for our children and our employees right now. We have a great plan, we have great communication, we've had great employees that watch after our children. I'm very comfortable about the safety of our children and employees. Marion County Public Schools has a very detailed and well thought out emergency preparedness plan. All of our principals, all of our employees have been trained in the parts of that plan. Our students participate in active drills. We emphasize preventive measures. We have the Save a Friend hotline, which gives us great information on potential issues. So it worked. It's a very good plan that's already in place. I agree with our local law enforcement agencies that we should not arm our teachers and our employees and our principals. Bringing another weapon onto our campus is simply not a good idea. We have many other ways that we think we can protect our children and our employees. Right now, the school board has charged me and my staff with looking at other additional things that might make our campuses more safe. Additional fencing at our campuses, security cameras at our campuses. We're also looking at panic buttons and things like that, better ways to communicate. And again, I'll always emphasize, and I continue to ask our community to participate in the Save a Friend hotline and any kind of preventive measures we might have. I think that the best thing our community can do is to maintain open communications with school personnel. We encourage parents to visit with our school personnel. We encourage students to have great relationships with teachers and employees so they can report possible
bad or negative things that they might have heard about or might think might occur. So I think open communication is probably the best thing to do. And then, following our emergency plan, practice, practice, practice.
Rest assured, school safety is taken very seriously by our district. If our kids are not safe, they cannot learn. And if they're not learning, we're not fulfilling our mission. Well, the mission of these next 5 people you're about to meet is clear. They support our teachers and administrators. Most importantly, though, they support our students. And we'd like you to meet our 5 finalists for Marion County's School-Related Employee of the Year.
Good morning, Ms. Hardigan. How are you? Congratulations on making the finalists for our non-instructional year.
We're proud of you, Mr. Lynn. You help make this classroom better every day. We couldn't do it without you. Right? Right? Now's a good time to give him a hug.
Thank you very much. Congratulations. We'll see you at the next round. Thanks very much to you.
Yo les he dicho a ustedes que yo empecé como ustedes. Cuando empecé el colegio no sabía inglés. Y bueno, y ustedes saben que estudié y me hice maestra.
Now you have to tell us what you just said.
I always tell them that I was one of them. I began school with no English. And my family came from Cuba, and well, I studied and hung in there, and I enjoy doing what I do, and this is such a great honor. Oh gosh, I'm on camera.
Good morning.
Yeah, nobody knew why the music got turned on. Thank you. Well, we can announce our mission is accomplished, but we're going to replace the hat because we have a tradition here. You get to be princess for the day. Okay. You get to wear a crown. Yes, ma'am.
Right here. Mrs. Estra? How do you do? Stand up. My name is George Tomyn. I'm the superintendent here, and I'd like to congratulate you. You're one of our finalists for non-instructional employee of the year.
I call her Miss Sunrise because anything we have going on, she's here. She's been out there painting and cleaning, and when we have Saturdays where we come out and we do cleanups and those types of things, and she's always, you can count Miss Estra to be.
Everybody come on, don't throw me.
Next month, we'll tell you who won, and we'll introduce you to our 5 Golden Apple teachers, one of whom will be named Marion County's 2013 Teacher of the Year. Well, we started our show earlier with Ocala Police Chief Greg Graham, and now we finish with one of his officers. Ronald Vann works as the resource officer at Osceola Middle School, but he views his job as more than just that. Here's why he loves his job in his own words.
Hello, I'm Officer Vann. I'm the current school resource officer for Osceola Middle School and also 8th Street Elementary. Both schools are adjacent to one another and are pretty much housed on the same property. So therefore I'm security for both schools. We have all eyes on deck That means if we see a suspicious person, the staff or students, they're going to locate a staff member, and staff member going to immediately contact the school resource officer. It's my job to confront any type of foe or any type of threat towards the school. A typical day for me as a school resource officer, I start my day about 7:15 in the morning. I get here right prior before the kids come on campus. And I go to my office, I pick up my bicycle because I use my bicycle to patrol the campus. And my main goal is to have high visibility. Everybody knows high visibility greatly deters or diminishes crime, the opportunity for crime. So I patrol the area, riding on my bicycle, having conversations and high-fiving various students. I love my job so much because it gives me an opportunity to be around the kids, to affect them in a positive way. Therefore, they can grow up to be contributing members of society.
Thanks, Officer Van, for making a difference with our kids every day. And thank you for watching Classroom Connection today. I hope you have enjoyed what you've seen, and we hope it's been informative as well. Remember, keeping our schools safe is not just the responsibility of teachers and police officers. Schools belong to our entire community, and it takes all of us to keep them safe. Until next time, parents, remember, be there for your child every day.